Hey guys, and welcome back to my reading corner. In typical me fashion, one, I don't have the book near me, and two, I'm recording on the day that this is supposed to be uploaded. So, if you're interested in hearing my book review for The Damned, which is the second book in the Beautiful series from Renee Audier, then just keep watching. Okay, so like I said, today I'm gonna be really looking to review this series thus far. The second book being The Damned, the first book being The Beautiful. I read this one electronically from the library, loved it, had to get a copy, and of course I got the autographed copy from Barnes and Nobles. It has this beautiful red cover. And I love how the world is in red. And then if you're wondering, the Barnes & Noble's version of The Damned is in purple. It's a purple cover with purple of the world. So this series follows quite a bit of characters where they have different paths that they have all come to. So there's a group of humans and there's a group of vampires, and there's also a group of werewolves. So the main two characters we have in this book, let me get it right, is Celine and, oh, I can hear his name. What is his name? Oh, Sebastian. Yes, that. So Celine and Sebastian are the two main kind of characters in this book, regardless of all the three main groups of characters. Sebastian is a member who is, oh gosh, okay, Sebastian is a member of the family that kind of is all powerful in New Orleans, which is where this world takes place. And in this world, his uncle is like the king. His uncle is the controller of the vampire clan, and Sebastian's just kind of there, just chilling, doing whatever he wants. Then you have Celine. Celine has traveled from Paris to New Orleans because something happened. And she's of course trying to avoid the consequences of that situation. And she's going for a new life, a new world. And she is of course a member of the human group. Then we have werewolves. In the first book, you really don't get, in my opinion, too much really of the werewolves. They're very much in the periphery, but once you get to The Damned, you get a lot more aspects of the werewolf clan and how they interact with the vampires and also with the humans. Okay, so because I don't know if you guys have fully read The Beautiful, I'm just going to do a very cursory situation with The Beautiful. So in this book, this is quite literally a vampire and human romance between Sebastian, of course, Celine. And they meet at times where neither of them wanted to, of course, meet the person that they're supposed to meet with, of course. And I mean, things happen. There's only so much you can really avoid the person that you're supposed to be with. Eventually, you're going to click. Eventually, you're going to just let go and let flow. And eventually, of course, that is what happens. But of course, how is it okay for a vampire to be in love with a human? Is that okay? No, it usually ends to catastrophe. And in their case, it ends in ultimate catastrophe. There are some liberties of things that I have said in this synopsis that I have to say because I don't want to give away the twists and turns. So take that as you will. If you have not read it, if you've read it, you understand what liberties I have taken. Overall, I enjoyed this book immensely. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. And for me, from what I know, this seems like an adult and better version of Twilight. I still have yet to read Twilight. I have the first book, just haven't gotten around to picking it up. But it is like an adult and better version, because what I can tell from Twilight is that a lot of people don't like the book because Edward seems like a stalker and creepy. I mean, in real life, that's how some people live their life, but we gonna let that be great. Either way, I just really enjoyed this book and I could not wait to get the second book, which is why I pre-ordered it. It arrived last month and I just read it this month. Anyways, The Damned. So this takes place obviously after The Beautiful, and we are still following Celine and Sebastian, but there are a lot of things that happen. Oh, my eyelash. Oh, good Lord. Oh, death is coming to me. What is happening? We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. In the very last pages of this book, something crazy happens. I can't tell you more. All I can say is something crazy happens. And this book follows, of course, the repercussions of the decisions that both Celine and Sebastian make. And woo baby, you learn so much more, like I said, about the werewolf clan. You learn more about Sebastian, but more importantly, you learn a lot more about Celine. You also get a couple other tangential romances on the side with the other vampires. There is another potential blossom of a human and a vampire romance, which I am living for. It was really, really good. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 star. It didn't have all of the beautifulness that this book had, but it was great. I can't go too much more into depth because I truly just don't want to ruin The Beautiful if you've not read The Beautiful, and I also don't want to give away this because there's so many twists and turns that, like, it was amazing. But make sure you learn a lot more about, like I said, the werewolves, about Sebastian as a person, and of course as about Celine, which I'm more excited about what I learned about Celine. But more importantly, this book leaves off a lot of questions and a lot of unanswered connections that I need answered. As of right now on Goodreads, there is no mention of a third book in this series, but I truly think that this series will benefit from a third book. I don't always think that a trilogy is necessary. Sometimes I feel as though authors drag out the situation, or they add a prequel just to milk the reader or whatever have you. But in this instance, I think it is truly necessary for there to be a third book. At the end, there are just so many unanswered questions about what happens to Celine and Sebastian, about what Pippa and another main character end up becoming. There's so many unanswered questions, and I ended up staying up till like 3-4 a.m. last night reading this book because it was that intriguing. So I promise you all, when I say this book, in my opinion, really needs a third book, this series needs a third book. I truly mean it. Please, Renee Audier, I know you're not checking for this video. I know it will not come across on your periphery, but I am begging and pleading that you come out with a third book so I can know what happens to these characters. I need to know. And I also didn't realize there's also a slight difference in the page color. Interesting. Anyways, that's irrelevant. I mean, I don't care. They're both autographed copies, and I can promise you one thing. If she comes out with a third one, I'm going to get the autographed copy from Barnes & Nobles too, because my collection needs to match. But overall, I would highly recommend this series. I am truly enjoying it, and I think other people who will enjoy it as well. Oh, there's also, in this book, we learn that there's also a connection in the other world to Fae, and I believe this is the first book that I've read that truly had Fae characters represented, so that was intriguing. I hear so many people who love fantasy that deal with Fae and human romances, or just Fae in general, and I've just been sitting there like, what's a Fae? Point of clarification, can somebody tell me what a Fae is? I'll give you 100 points, Alex. And I finally, I guess, figured it out, but I really didn't because I'm too lazy to Google it and look more into it. But either way, it was exciting to read my first book that has fae representation in it. And hopefully, in the near future, if not before the end of this year, I will have read some, if not all, of Twilight, so I can tell you guys, you know, what I feel and which, what is it called? Which series I prefer. Also, isn't Vampire Diaries a thing? All of these vampire romances I never read in high school because I refused. I refused and still do to go with the norm. If everybody's loving one thing, I wait until later and then I read it or watch it, because then I'm like, oh, nobody else cares. It's my turn to like. Okay, I'm gonna stop being weird. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It has been long enough. Overall, I highly recommend this series and hope to pray to God, to everybody, that we get a third book in this trilogy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this video helps you guys with your life's journey, whether it's easy or it's hard, and I'll see you guys in the next video.